Hello?
Hey, what's up, Joey? You got Justin and Mike with you again.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's going on, Joey?
Hey, not much. Just ready to get on this call here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, man. How are you feeling right now? How's the energy going around the AAC and all that?
Well, it's a lot better than it was last time we talked, which I believe was right after a certain player was traded. Right now, feeling pretty dang good with the Wings and the Mavs. It's good in Arlington. It's good in Dallas. So no complaints right now.
Yeah, for sure. Two number one picks, man. First time in history is the same city's gotten the first pick.
You get to cover both of them, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's it really is crazy. That's a great word for it. It's pretty unbelievable.
Well, I guess we'll start. How's it going with Paige Bueckers? We've seen your conversations with her, and how's that been like?
Yeah, it's been really great. Paige is, she's 23, but she's super mature. She really, she has to do a lot of media. Everyone wants to talk to her right now, and she's been doing a great job with all that. And then, of course, the talent speaks for itself. She's probably the most complete prospect in recent memory. Just maybe not like Caitlin Clark was incredible, but I think when it comes to just being a complete player, it's hard to think of someone who was better than her, at least in over the past couple of years. So it's been really fun, a lot of excitement. There's a lot of media at practices, which really wasn't the case over the past couple of years with this team. So it's really been just an exciting time for this Dallas Wings team.
Yeah, and there's, in addition to Paige, y'all got a lot of new additions too, like Dejanay. What's the whole team vibe like right now?
Yeah, I think, like you said, there's only 3 players returning from last year. So this is a completely different team pretty much. They have a new head coach, new GM. It's definitely a different just vibe there. And like you said, Dejanay, she's going to be a defensive stopper. And you bring in Melissa Smith. There's just a lot of new players to go along with Enrique Ogunbowale, who's already there. So I don't know if this team's going to be like a championship contender, but they should be a lot better than they were last year.
Yeah. Yeah, ain't going to be too hard to be a little better than they were last year. But
That's a good point.
Yeah. How do you feel like the pairing with Paige and Enrique is going to be?
Yeah, it's kind of been one of the storylines for sure. I think it's good. I think it'll be really good for Enrique because she even told us that she's more of an off-the-ball type of player, which, she can be an ISO player for sure, but I think it'll be good for her to get some more catch-and-shoot opportunities. And Paige, she really is a good distributor. She's great at finding the open player. So I think you're going to see Enrique potentially better shooting percentage, which can be great. And then you might see someone like Maddie Siegrist, who was a great shooter in college. She has kind of struggled with her efficiency in the WNBA. You might see her take a step forward. And I could name every player on the team who's a shooter, and they might improve. So I just think Paige's all-around impact's been great. And that's going to be one of the best backcourts in the league for sure.
Yeah, definitely excited to see how well they work together. Are we thinking Paige could be Rookie of the Year?
Oh, absolutely. I'd be surprised if she wasn't. The number 2 pick, Dominique Malonga, she's a candidate for sure, but I think Paige is the safe bet for that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, we're excited to see how the Wings go, but moving over to the Mavericks, man, talk about that excitement with the 1.8% chance of winning the lottery.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I was actually back home on vacation, and I was watching it with my mom. We were watching it, and I was like, Mom, there's probably no chance they're going to end up with the number 1 pick. They're probably going to be number 11, number 12, something like that. And then it just kept getting closer and closer. Before I know it, they're top 4. I'm like, oh, shoot, I better go run and grab my laptop. I might need to write something here ASAP. And then we were watching, and then, number 3 comes, number 2, and then Spurs or Mavs, and then he says Spurs. And we were just like, oh, my goodness, because the Mavs are number 1. And it was really just shocking. And I sprinted to grab my laptop. I wrote a couple stories ASAP. And since being back in Dallas now, it's just been a lot of excitement. I think if you're just on NBA Twitter, you're very familiar with what's going on. It's everyone's in shock. Some people are saying it's rigged. I'm not saying that, just to clarify, but there are people saying that.
Yeah.
And it's been crazy times in the NBA for sure.
Well, it's definitely seemed like Nico traded Luka for Cooper Flagg potentially.
Yeah, it kind of Kind of does seem like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For sure. So from what I heard, the new CEO, he said that they are not trading the pick. Is that absolute?
Yeah, from what I've heard, I've heard a lot of people talking, and it doesn't seem like they're going to trade it. But the one thing I've kind of learned with this team is you can never say never. Because if they're willing to trade a 26-year-old superstar like Luka Doncic in his prime, there's really, I don't feel confident saying no way it can't happen.
Yeah.
I will say I'd be very surprised if they traded the number one pick. I don't think they should trade trade the pick for a guy like Giannis, which has been kind of the main rumor. Just because then that really closes your championship window for, that doesn't close it, but it shortens it for a couple of years. So I think they should get the young guy, let him develop alongside Kyrie and AD. And then once those guys, move on or whatever, you still have a franchise star to build around. So
Yeah.
I don't envision them trading it. But like I said, I'm never going to say never now just because of what happened past February.
Yeah, I know Nico, when the trade happened, he had mentioned kind of a short window he was working with. Do you feel like he's kind of changed his tune on that now that he has the first overall pick?
Yeah, I think it really does depend if they trade it, which I don't think they're going to. So assuming they don't trade it, it still is kind of a short window to the extent of winning with Kyrie and AD. But now you can build around Cooper Flagg, Derek Lively II, maybe even Brandon Williams, who's kind of come on nicely. So you can kind of start building a new core while also trying to win now. So it definitely makes the championship window seem a little bit, more optimistic really for the future.
Yeah.
And once Kyrie and AD leave and those guys, you're going to have a couple of years where you're not winning, but then I don't think it will take as long to rebuild because you bring in a couple other stars. If Cooper Flagg lives up to that potential, then you're looking at a completely different team and they could be a championship contender once again within the next few years.
Yeah, definitely. Hope so for sure. What do you think about the narrative that Cooper Flagg is the most looked at prospect since Wemby, or other than Wemby in the last however many years?
Yeah, I remember when Wemby got drafted, they were saying he was the top prospect since LeBron. So I think they're right. I mean, last year's draft class didn't really do a lot for me. And then the year before was obviously Wemby's class. That was a good class, and Wemby's incredible. I remember, Zion was definitely up there. There's been a few really, really good players for sure, but what everyone's saying is Cooper Flagg is just a generational talent. It's the offense, the defense. He can really handle himself in the defensive end, which is huge for Nico Harrison because we all know he loves defense wins championships. So I think just that element of it kind of makes him a little bit more intriguing. Like if he was just a scorer, I don't think there would be quite as much excitement. But the fact that he does everything at such a high level is kind of what makes him that generational type of player. So I do agree with that. He's definitely the top prospect since Wemby, and some say since LeBron. I'd still maybe take Wemby, but it's close. Flagg and Wemby, there's a lot of they're not the same kind of player, but they're both very high ceilings for sure.
Yeah. So we all know the Mavs fans were very hurt this year. They went through a lot. Do you feel like now with this number one overall pick, regardless if they traded or not, do you feel like the front office has been given a little more grace now?
That's a great question. I'm really interested to see what happens with that. I don't know if there's going to be the fire Nico chant type of stuff going on again. I really hope not. That did get a little tired last year. We'll have to kind of wait and see. I mean, I think Mavs fans are a lot more optimistic now. So I do think there'll be a little bit more grace, like you were saying there. It's interesting to see though what they do this offseason. I mean, do you trade PJ Washington? Do you trade Daniel Gafford? Who do you trade them for? What do you get? So they still have work to do, but it seems like the vibe is definitely trending in a promising direction for sure.
Yeah.
Well, news has it that they're definitely in search for a point guard. Is there any noise of who they might be after?
Yeah, there's just kind of rumors circulating. I actually wrote a piece today on why they should pursue Chris Paul. Some people loved that idea, some people hated it, but for me, I just kind of looked at that like they need somebody to fill in those first few months with Kyrie Irving out. And why not bring in Chris Paul? He's going to set up his teammates. He's not a long-term commitment at this point. And maybe he wins his first championship in Dallas. So for me, that was just an idea. That wasn't a sourced rumor or anything. That was just an idea I had. But there's been a lot of different names. I even heard Lonzo Ball. I think somebody mentioned that, which with the injury risk and the Mavs injury history, I don't love that, although I do like Lonzo as a player. I've heard Drew Holiday is a potential guy. There's a few guys. It'll be interesting to see if they want to add another star guard or if they just add somebody who can kind of, fill the void when Kyrie's out those first few months next year.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, it seems like this is a pretty good spot for Cooper Flagg to end up. I mean, it's a playoff-ready team now that he slides into that small forward position. So I hope that's the route we do go, and I hope he helps brings us a championship or two.
He has the potential for sure. It'll be really exciting as long as they do draft him and don't trade that pick.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, hey man, we appreciate you jumping on the call again with us. It's always good to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
Of course. Well, we'll talk to you next time, Joey. Thank you.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.